Hello and welcome. So we have a circle and it's intersected by a secant and tangent line. So let's just briefly talk about that vocab. A secant line is essentially a line that will intersect an object at two places, right? So Y and B are your two intersection points. That makes the green line your secant line. And then from Z to G and onwards, that is your tangent line because we see it only intersecting once. So secant line intersects twice, tangent line intersects once. Okay, we're given a couple pieces of information. First off, we're given that the distance right here from Z to Y is actually a length of little z, right, lowercase z, and the length from Y to B is 25, and the length from capital Z to G is Z, little z, plus 3. Okay? So, first thing we gotta know is we gotta know what's the relationship. How can we set up an equation with this thing? Because that's always our first goal with geometry. And essentially, it is as follows: that you have the small part of line outside times the whole line equals, I'm going to just say small for this next one, times the whole. Okay? So when we're looking at this, essentially how this works is that you have two lines, and you essentially, let me take out these highlighters so it's a little easier to see, is you take the small section of the line that's outside a circle. So in this case, that would be your length of z. And then you times it by the whole length of the line. So that wouldn't just be the 25, that would be the entire thing. That would be z plus the 25. Alright, oops, I was moving that down. Okay, and then you would multiply the two together. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Now, what makes the other side a little more interesting is that you don't have two intersection points, right? There's no small and whole, there's only the whole line, right? You only have the part outside of the circle, which is z plus 3. Oops. Okay. And then you have the whole portion, which is also just z plus 3. So whenever you have a tangent line, essentially you have the same thing multiplied twice. You essentially square it. But if you have a secant line, you will have two different lengths. You'll have the outside, and remember to add it together, right? Both things combined to make the whole. And that would be the setup for this one. And then from now, it's just a matter of solving this. So first off, you got a bunch of parentheses. First thing is to distribute them. So on the left side, we distribute that. Z times z is z squared plus 25z. Okay. On the right side, we have z squared plus 3z plus 3z plus 9. Alright. Now it's a matter of just combining your like terms, right? We have two z's on the right side. Those can be combined to give you 6z, right? 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 9. On the left, we have z squared plus 25z. Now your goal is to get everything onto the same side. As soon as you see squares, generally you're getting everything on the same side. But you'll notice something kind of interesting, is that when we move this z squared off to the left, what's going to happen between your squares? Whoosh! They're gone, right? They cancel to give you 0, and what's left behind is just this linear equation. We have 25z equals 6z plus 9. And that's just solving, right? Now it's just a matter of getting your x's together, right? Combine those two together, move the positive term of subtraction, right? And now we have 19z equals 9. Well, then how do you undo that multiplication? With division, and then divide the 19 to both sides. So on the left side you have just a z, on the right side we have 9/19. Now, if it can be simplified, simplified it. 19's a prime, it's not going down any further, so 9/19 is going to be your final answer. Okay, when you were to solve this, all you just do is a quick double check, right? If you plug it into your z's originally, so we have that z and that z, okay, are we going to get negatives back? No, right? If you plug it in here, a positive number is not going to turn negative. Okay? If you plug it in here, a positive number plus 3 is still going to be a positive number. So you're good to go. Alright. Thank you so much for watching.